Well, Kansas State needed to bounce back, and they did so in grand fashion on Saturday against Oklahoma State. A meeting of two original Big Six teams, both ranked, and the loser would leave here 0-2. And so this was a really important game in terms of the Big 12 ranks. Oklahoma State's got a wicked uphill climb after opening the season with Utah and K-State. And K-State, of course, lost big at BYU, which turned around and won at Baylor. So pretty interesting how this league's already beginning to take shape. But this was a must-win for Kansas State in so many ways. You needed to bounce back after that dreadful performance in Provo. You needed to assert your home field advantage, and you need to look good in the process. And I think they accomplished all of that. One of the big moments of this game was in that second quarter when Oklahoma State had just scored, and Avery quickly had a misfire and caused an interception, threw an interception. That reminded me of the BYU game quite a bit, and how Chris Kleiman and Joe Klanderman both said the defense in that situation has to hold them to a field goal. And they did this time. And I felt like K-State then asserted itself and took control of the rest of the game from there on. They had opportunities to score even more points, but 42-20 is a pretty emphatic win. Now the last two visits to Manhattan, it's been 90-20 in K-State's favor over Oklahoma State. So this was really important for K-State to pull itself together and show that it's ready to compete at a higher level than it should in Provo. It was an embarrassing performance, and I think that coaches and players all feel good about what they accomplished here, because this is a pretty darn good Oklahoma State team. They held Ollie Gordon in check enough to get it done. He had one of his better games of the season, believe it or not, but didn't break 100 yards. But the best running back in this game was DJ Giddens, and Giddens carried the ball only 15 times for 187 yards. It's 12 and a half yards a pop. Not bad. Avery Johnson, 5 carries for 60, so that was 12 yards per pop. When you're running for 300 yards against Oklahoma State's defense, you're doing something right. I thought this offense was in sync most of the day. There's a couple plays that, we all might have done something different or called something different, but I thought Connor Riley called a really good game, and they trusted Avery more. They talked about, Chris Kleiman in post-game here talked about Avery having a huge day of practice, a huge week of practice, where he was originally completely unstoppable. They think he completed 32 or 35 maybe on one of those days. And they seem to put a lot more trust in him and let him throw over the middle to do some things that he hasn't been doing. Saw a little bit different rotation. Ty Bowman at receiver playing quite a bit. Dylan Edwards actually carried the ball 8 times in this game, but they really shut him down for 22 yards. So Oklahoma State did something right in this game. Bottom line, Alan Bowman is not a good quarterback, and he played just well enough last year to keep them together. But in this game, he was pretty awful. He was pretty awful in this game, with 26 of 50 completions for 364 yards. He throws it away so much, it's unbelievable. He refuses to take a sack, so he just throws the ball in the face of any pressure, and usually off the back foot. So this game gets K-State back on track heading into their off week, and then they got back-to-back road games. How's this for how weird this schedule is? K-State won't play a home game again for another month. That'll be the Kansas game at the end of October. They're off 2 road games and then Kansas. It's a strange schedule this year for the Wildcats, but now they need to go out on the road and prove they can play better. They have not played well in either of their road games. They did escape New Orleans with the win over Tulane, but barely, and then just absolutely stunk in Provo. So these are going to be really interesting tests. They're both very winnable games. K-State is a much better team than both Colorado and West Virginia. But you got to go do it. And as we see in this conference, going on the road is a whole different thing. And you can be really good at home, but if you want to contend for the Big 12 championship, you got to be able to assert yourself on the road too. And that's K-State's next thing. They've got to come out and just really click offensively, defensively, and special teams in Boulder and put on a show, because it'll probably be in a highly visible time slot, because Colorado's pulling amazing ratings as everyone tunes in to watch them lose. And it'll be a big opportunity for Avery Johnson, this entire team, to step on the big stage again, and this time, do it right. That's it for the Power Talk. I'll be back this week with daily deliveries all week. Make sure you check out the post-game podcast that is probably concluded by now, as Big B and Ryan Wallace went live with that. Appreciate you watching. Stick with us. A lot more football to be played.